Welcome to Temur Thud Gates. I hope you're excited to do some damage with some sheep and some construct tokens and just a ton of shenanigans. But let's start off with the core foundation of the deck, and that's going to be Gatebreaker Ram and Gate Colossus. This is a gate deck. There's guild gates in Ravnica, where this deck has a ton of gates in it. And of course, we're going to be able to take advantage of the gates with cards like Gatebreaker and Gate Colossus. So with Gatebreaker Ram, that's going to give us +1/+1 for each gate that we control. And then as long as we have 2 more gates, which is going to be pretty consistent, most of the time, especially on turn 3, you've already got the 2 gates. Gatebreaker Ram is going to have Vigilance and Trample. So as you keep making those gate land drops, you end up with a 4/4, 5/5, 6/6, 7/7 with Trample and Vigilance. You can swing in with it, then leave it on defense because it didn't tap to attack. It's just a wonderful card of the deck, and it's one of those cards that you're happy to see it at any point in the game. Whether it's turn 3 with Gatebreaker Ram or it's late game, either way, you're going to have a very sizable threat in Gatebreaker Ram, and plus it's a goat, and that's some fun. I like goats in Magic. That's some good Magic right there. And of course, we've got Gate Colossus. I love this card. There's a lot of times where we're getting this down for about 4 mana. That's going to be about the average cost where we're getting it down. But late game, let's say that we've been making a lot of guild gates, there's been a lot of board wipes. We have Rhythm the Wild in this deck, which I will definitely cover. That's going to give our creatures haste. So there's just some times where Gate Colossus goes to the graveyard. You make that gate land drop that goes back on top of your library, and then you can cast it for free. You've got at least 8 gates on the battlefield, and you have a 0 converted mana cost 8/8 with haste. That's some, your opponent's going to be like, wow, this is so cool. Do it again. And you're like, yeah, no problem. Now, outside of the Gatebreaker Rams, the Gate Colossus, we are running some Jellyfish power in here, running Hydroid Krasis. So this is a Temur ramp deck. We need to get as many lands on the battlefield as possible. And one of the ways that we can stabilize in this deck, if we don't have Gatebreaker or Gate Colossus or something like that, is through Hydroid Krasis. We can tap out for a really big Hydroid Krasis, cash in some life gain, cash in some card draw, and then basically just rinse and repeat. There's a lot of times where you can simply get down Hydroid Krasis for X = 6. That's going to be 3 card draw and then 3 life gain. That's going to find you another Hydroid Krasis, and next thing you know, you're just you're churning through your deck. I mean, if you like decks that can really kind of draw a ton of cards, win or lose, I really enjoy playing a deck that's just really active. There's a lot of lines of play to go for. This is definitely one of those decks, and Hydroid Krasis really makes this deck shine. It opens up a ton of doors for you to kind of find whatever sort of win condition that you're looking for. Now, let's move on to the lands for the deck, the ways that we can really utilize the lands. We have Guild Summit. This card is super good in any sort of gate deck that you're wanting to build. Enters the battlefield, tap any number of gate cards. Now, if you're getting this down on turn 3, that's perfectly fine, because where this card shines is once you get it down, it's kind of like that infomercial, set it and forget it. You get down Guild Summit, and then every single gate drop that you make after that, doesn't matter if it's your land drop or maybe it comes from Growth Spiral, as long as you're putting a gate onto the battlefield, that's going to be a card draw for you. That is so good. The fact that you can draw extra card every single turn as you're making your land drop really kind of helps put you in a position to win the game. And of course, Growth Spiral, that's kind of going to be the cantrip slot for the deck. We go for draw card, then you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. There's so many times where you get your land drop down for the turn, you go Guild Gate, then you go Growth Spiral, put a Guild Gate on the battlefield, you're drawing 2 cards. I mean, it's just, you can churn through your deck super quick, and it is a ton of fun. Now, as far as some of the cantrips for the deck, or the especially utility cards, we are running Chart a Course in here. This is my choice of a cantrip for this particular deck because it does 2 things. It allows us to dig a little bit deeper in our library, and we have to discard a card. So let's say that we have to get rid of Gate Colossus. Gate Colossus has that condition that says, hey, if you put a gate onto the battlefield, you can put me on top of your library. So basically, Chart a Course in this deck reads, draw 2 cards, then put Gate Colossus off to the side until you need them. And that is a wonderful way to kind of have a one-sided card advantage with Chart a Course. You could run some sort of, Anticipate, Opt at this slot, but I really like Chart a Course in here. Like I mentioned, you can dump those Gate Colossus into the graveyard and then bring them back late game when you do need them. And we are running Wayward Sawtooth in here. This is one of those cards that works out really well early game. We can make those few extra land drops. Then, let's say we have Rhythm the Wild, they've taken care of our gates, they've taken care of our Gate Colossus, they've taken care of our Gatebreaker Rams. Getting down a 5/5 with haste once we have the City's Blessing late game, it's a pretty sizable threat. It doesn't have trample, but being able to kind of stabilize with a 3 mana 5/5. There's worse things you could be doing, but if you kind of want to play around with the deck list, that's definitely something that you could cut, or if you don't have the card, it's not crucial. It's basically just in there to have a little bit of fun. Now, Temur Gates. We're not running Wilderness Reclamation in here. We're not running any sort of Nexus of Fate. It is banned in best of 1, but it's not banned in best of 3. We're running Thud and Punch because there's so many times where you end up with a huge Gate Colossus, end up with a really big Gatebreaker Ram, and then for 1 red mana, you can deal 8, 9, 10 damage to your opponent. Let's say you've made 1 swing in from your Gate Colossus. Either way, you're going to be able to close the game out for 1 red mana. That does leave you open to some sort of counter magic, but the thrill of sacrificing a Gatebreaker Ram to deal 8 damage up top feels pretty good. And of course, Punch. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target player. This is going to be one of those cards where we don't have to sacrifice that creature, so you can swing in with your Gatebreaker Rams, deal some damage. This is a ramp deck, so let's say that we have 8 mana available. We can go Punch up top, and then we can jump start it out of the graveyard for another Punch. Now, I am running 1 and 1 of these in the deck. You can play around with the numbers in here. If you've got multiple copies of Punch in your hand, you've got multiple copies of Thud in your hand, it feels kind of clunky. It doesn't feel that good. If you're going to adjust the numbers to where you have more damage dealt like this, I would probably say 1 Thud and maybe 2 to 3 Punches. That way, it kind of gives you a play set of, damage that you can deal to your opponent. Outside of that, 1 and 1 was perfectly fine for me because there's a lot of times where, like I mentioned, we're getting down Growth Spiral, we have Guild Summit for card draw, we've got Hydroid Krasis. You almost don't really need to run more than 2, but if you want to really have a ton of fun, kind of turn that fun knob all the way to the top, increase the number of punches, and your opponent will be thrilled. Now, outside of the punches, one of the ways that we can really make this deck super aggressive is going to be Rhythm of the Wild. This allows us to make sure our creature spells are not countered, and at the same time, it gives us the option of having them have haste. Let's say that we've gone late game, they destroyed our creatures, we got Rhythm of the Wild, and then we top deck just a huge Hydroid Krasis. The fact that we can tap out for X equals 8 or something like that, then give it haste from Rhythm of the Wild, and it can't be countered. That's instant win condition right there. It's going to help you close the game out every single time. I have never, Rhythm of the Wild is one of the glues that hold this deck together outside of Gatebreaker and Gate Colossus. This feels so good and it feels really natural in here because so many of your creatures, you want them to stick on the battlefield, and then your control opponents are going to be like, well, crud. Cannot be countered, and it's one of those that they typically don't see coming. So I highly recommend running the Rhythm of the Wild in here. Really helps you just win some games when you go to that late game and control's trying to stop your stuff. It's a wonderful card to have in here. And of course, our late game, let's say that a lot of stuff has been answered. Our Gate Colossus has been blown up, Gatebreaker Ram, he's been taken care of. We have Vivian Reed. Vivian Reed's going to allow us to dig for another land. We can keep making those land drops, get those Guild Summit card draws going. Or for the -3, that's going to allow us to make sure the coast is clear for Hydroid Krasis. We can deal with any sort of Wilderness Reclamation from our opponent, or simply just keep stuff in check. And this is a wonderful Planeswalker for the deck. Really allows us to kind of rebuild in case something bad has happened to us. And Gates of Blaze. It is so nice running this Gates of Blaze in here because pretty much every single creature besides Wayward Swordtooth is going to be able to dodge this Gates of Blaze. And when you have a one-sided board wipe in Magic, that is a really good advantage to have. It's going to deal each damage to each creature where X is the number of gates that you control. So basically, once you kind of, the fact that Gatebreaker Ram has base power and toughness 2/2, as you keep making these land drops, he's basically always going to be able to stick around and survive a Gates of Blaze. Then you can really imagine that goat running out of the fire, his horns are on fire. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff. Now Gate Colossus will kind of catch the fire sometimes, but that's going to be very situational and very late game, so I wouldn't worry about it. But most of the time, it's just basically going to be a one-sided board wipe, and that is one of the best feelings in Magic. But that's going to be it for the deck tech. I have some awesome gameplay videos up for you next, so make sure you stick around and watch. Welcome to Temur Gates. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, I love this. We're going to keep on this one. We can lead off with a Gate and then Shock and Breeding Pool and be online for Growth Spiral. So I really like that. And we'll see what we're up against. Thankfully, we're not playing, at least right now, we're not playing against, looks like we're playing against Mardu. So as long as we're not playing against Bant Nexus, that's a interesting deck to play against. Let's go ahead and get down Simic Guildgate, and then anything else we're going to pass the turn. Yeah, with Bant Nexus or the Nexus decks, it's one of those you never want to hate on the person playing the deck because Wizards printed the cards. The person you should be mad at is Wizards, but it is a not a fun deck to play against sometimes. It is, it's pretty gnarly. All right, so it looks like we're playing against either black-white aggro or maybe Mardu Aristocrats. It's probably just going to be black. So hopefully we can find a Gates of Blaze sometime soon. In fact, if we can get double Gates of Blaze, that would actually work out a lot better because a lot of these creatures are going to have Afterlife, which is something that we're going to have to watch out for. Let's go and Shock and Breeding Pool. We're going to pay 2 life, and I think we just go for Growth Spiral. That way we can just go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We could try to leave up some sort of counter magic, but we don't have it in here, and might as well just go and make the land drop while we can. So we'll just go and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, the good thing for next turn is that we can at least get down Plaza of Harmony, and that's going to allow us to go for Growth Spiral. We can also go for Thud if we want to get down Gate Colossus. So we're in a pretty good position to kind of get an extra land drop down too. The only thing that we'd really like to see is going to be something like Guild Summit. That way we can really kind of establish some sort of card draw engine. All right, so Rakdos Guild Gate. Thankfully with Plaza of Harmony, that's going to give us a little bit of extra life gain too, so we can kind of bounce back from that. Yeah, let's go for Growth Spiral. Let's kind of test the waters out. Let's go Growth Spiral. That's going to be blue then green. And then we draw, ooh, there we go. We're drawn to Guild Summit. So at this point right now, we have 3 Guild Gates in the hand. We need to start getting down some of these gates. So we'll go for Rakdos Guild Gate. That way it's going to be a second red source. And then we still have the land drop to make for the turn. I want to hold on to these gates for Guild Summit. So let's get down Plaza of Harmony. It's going to be 3 life gains, put us back up to 17, and then we'll go and pass the turn. So our opponent did get down a mountain. Looks like we are playing against Mardu Aristocrats, which typically you're looking at Judith coming down. You're looking at, depending on what sort of build they have the creature that whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you get a 1/1 human, which is just a ton of fun. I love playing that deck, and see what our opponent has in store for us. All right, so we draw into Punch. So at this point, we've got Gate Colossus for 5 total mana. Yeah, we can set up a really nice Punch and Thud turn, I think, if we end up just kind of... Maybe we can rip into something. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go for Guild Summit. That's going to be blue. And we want to make sure that we're not tapping down any sort of the minimum amount of gates that we need to. We'll tap down Rakdos Guild Gate. We'll tap down both of these to draw into a few more cards. Because even then, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and we'll get 4. Yeah, well, either way, we're not going to be able to cast it. So we'll at least just go and tap down both of these gates. That's going to be 1, 2 card draw. Oh, yeah. Oh, and drawn to Gates Ablaze. That is wonderful. We'll get down, is it Guild Gate? That'll be an additional card draw. Rhythm of the Wild. Okay, all right. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn back over to our opponent. So this is, yeah, this is good. We've got some good stuff. Oh, they went for Mortify. Oh, that's fine. We can follow it up with Rhythm of the Wild. So if we go for Rhythm of the Wild, that's going to be giving our creatures haste with Gate Colossus, and we might be able to set it up with Thud, because we get that reduced cost. But I think, yeah, so they've got Afterlife 1. That's going to put it on about a 5-turn clock if we end up going for Gates Ablaze. Ooh, get into another Gate Colossus. So right now the Gate Colossus is going to cost 4. We get down one more gate. It's going to cost 3. So what we can do is we can set up a... I think I feel safe going Gates Ablaze, just really dealing with some of these creatures. Because we're still looking at 3, we're looking at 4 coming across. This is just simply just going to be some little spirit tokens. Yeah, let's go and go for this. I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a safer play. And then next turn we can set up a Rhythm of the Wild. That does deal 1 damage up top. We get a few more tokens, but at least we get rid of some of these creatures, especially that Tithe Taker too. We'll go for Rhythm of the Wild. Now, if they do swing with these spirit tokens, that's really going to clear the way for these Gate Colossus. So we're going to get down Gate. That's going to put it at 3. All right, and then anything else, we're going to pass the turn. So once we get down Simic Guild Gate next turn, we're looking at 2 mana for Gate Colossus, 2 mana for Gate Colossus. That's going to be double haste with Rhythm of the Wild. That's going to be 16. And then we swing across with Thud or Punch, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go for a Thud. Yeah, we've got some fun stuff for next turn. So hopefully we should be able to outrace these spirit tokens. But you can see what this deck's trying to do by getting down a huge creature and having a fun turn like Punch and then Thud. Now if we hit Gatebreaker Ram, that trample would, oh, that would be really good. All right, so ooh, we draw into Hydroid Krasis. Now that is a very interesting thing that we can go for. So the fun line of play would be going for Gate Colossus, trying to set that up. And Hydroid Krasis would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'd be able to cash in a little bit of card draw. I still think we go double Gate Colossus. Yeah, I like that. Let's go. We're here to have some fun. Let's go Gate Colossus. We could go for Hydroid Krasis. Yeah, I mean, this is what this deck's about. Rhythm of the Wild, Gate Colossus. And then we're going to have it enter the battlefield with haste. We're going to have it enter the battlefield, the second one again. And we're having into the battlefield with haste. Let's go and swing in with these. Now, if our opponent ends up just letting this go through, that's going to be 16. Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. We're going to be able to come across for 16. We'll probably see that Footlight Fiend. No, not going to block. I think this is going to clear the way. It puts him down to 2. And let's go for Thud. And we're going to pay 1 red and sacrifice Gate Colossus. That's going to be 8 damage up top. That's going to put them down to -6. I don't know what they could have in their hand to stop that. All right, Plus going to scoop it up on that, so we get it. So we are playing against Mardu. Is there anything we want to bring in? Yeah, definitely want to bring in triple lava coil. That's going to be a good way to get rid of that afterlife. Gift of Paradise could almost be brought in on this one if we're playing against aggro. Yeah, I think we bring in 3 Gift of Paradise simply just to kind of slow down some of these creatures. Let's get rid of Vivian Reed. I'm not super wild about Vivian Reed in an aggro matchup like this. Wayward Swordtooth is nice, but it's a little slow. Gatebreaker Ram. We need to get rid of 2 more cards. I really like leaving in Punch. You can see how potent that was. I like leaving in Guild Summit. That was really good for us too. I like leaving in the Hydroid Krasis. So what do we need to go down on? I guess if we need to go down on anything, yeah, if we're going more value-based, I guess we can get rid of Punch and just leave in Thud. And that's going to be 1 more card we need to cut. We're going to cut 1 Chart of Course. There we go. That way it still keeps us on for instant speed land and still kind of keeps us on the Thud action. So, all right, anyway, I'll see you in game 2. Okay, as far as our opening hand goes, we have 1 land in the hand, and this is, other than that, man, if we had 2 lands, I would keep on this in a heartbeat. We are on the draw too. We get to draw a card. Do we have to hit a blue source or charter? Man, this is, I don't know. I don't know if we can keep on this one. I really like it though. We have Gift of Paradise. We can ramp really quick. Rhythm of the Wild. No, let's mulligan. This, I mean, if we don't hit a land, we go nowhere. Okay, yeah, we'll keep on this one. Sorry, sometimes I'm just like, it's almost like, 1, 2, 3. I'll put this on top. It's almost like, I know I'm not supposed to keep 1 landers, but my magic, for some reason in my magic career, my magic, whatever you're gonna call it, I've just been drawn to the 1 land hand. Like the appeal of the risk of hitting that second land is always so like intoxicating in my head. Let's get down Simic Guildgate. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get down Simic Guildgate and then we'll pass the turn. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that. It's one of those that I'm like a 1-lander. I mean, if we just hit that land, then it just all this stuff like falls into line perfectly. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. Unfortunately, when you're playing a deck like this, you do kind of get some random scoops like this. I'm going to go and post this, at least this portion of the video up. That way you can kind of see that first little game. Opponent wasn't really wanting to see some of that Thud. But yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Temur Gates. Hope you're excited. As far as opening hand goes, we've got, oh man, this is a blue-green source. This is a really clunky opening hand. We've got double Gate Colossus, double Golgari Guild Gates, and then Gates of Blaze. But we have no card advantage. You know, let's go on mulligan. I'm not super wild about that. And then, yeah, we can make this work. We've got 3 lands. We've got Gate of Blaze. We have Rhythm of the Wild. Yeah, we'll keep on this one. See, hopefully the Scry treats us well. And I think I'm actually okay with putting this on the bottom for right now, because we're going to find some sort of way just to kind of dig into our library just a little bit deeper. So let's go and get down to Simic Guildgate, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to some Temur Gates. Hope you're excited to get down Gate Colossus, go for a Thud, go for a Gravitic Punch. I don't know, man. This deck is a lot of fun. It's crazy how potent Rhythm of the Wild can be. All right, so we're playing against Mono Blue Tempo or Slippery Salamander. Basically, if you haven't seen this deck before, they get down the Mistcloak Herald, I think. It's the Merfolk that is unblockable. And they get down Curiosity. And next thing you know, they just go to town. It is a pretty fun deck to play against. Let's get down Golgari Guildgate. Well, we've got more blue-green utility stuff that we need. So let's get down Simic Guildgate, and they'll go and pass the turn. So hopefully we find a red source that allows us to go for Gates of Blaze. Now, when you're playing against Mono Blue Tempo, one thing you do have to watch out for is they do have Wizard's Retort in their deck, and I forget which. I think it's Siren Stormtamer. That one is also a wizard. So once they get down Siren Stormtamer, they're basically online for any sort of counterspell. There we go. So they get down Curious Obsession. Basically just swing in with the 1/1 flyer, and they just slowly eat the game away with card advantage. So that's pretty much what that deck's designed to do, and it's a pretty, if you haven't played against it, or at least played the deck, it is a very cheap deck to build too. I mean, it's like, I think it's probably like $10 or something like that. Golgari Guildgate, we can go for Wayward Swordtooth to make an extra land drop. Yeah, I think we're, because that's going to give us the life gain off of Plaza of Harmony. And then we can get down that Guild Gate, and you know, worst case scenario, you know, it's not super wild to go for, it's not super fun to go for Hydroid Krasis for 2, but you know, at this point, there's it's better than nothing. So we'll get down Gilgate and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. Yeah, that's unfortunately, we are running 4 copies of Hydroid Krasis in here. We do have a 2/2 flyer in the air, so Hydroid Krasis for 4 for 2/2. Yeah, we'll definitely cash that in. That's something we can get down, and then hopefully kind of stop these the slippery salamanders from swinging across on us. But yeah, if you're a fan of if you're a fan of like Delver style decks or really fun decks to pilot, highly recommend trying to pick this deck up. It's super cheap and you can play it online and have some fun. All right, so let's go Hydroid Krasis for 2. I guess we could. Yeah, let's go Hydroid for 2. If they've got a counter spell, we might be playing into a Wizard's Retort just straight up without the added benefit. But if that's the case, then that's fine. At least with Hydroid Krasis, we get that card draw. At this point, we're just looking for a red source. That's what we want. Chart of course. Okay. That's another thing that we'll definitely take. It looks like it's going to stick, so we'll get down Simic Guildgate, and then we'll go and pass the turn. So, thankfully, more than likely, they probably would have countered this Hydroid Krasis to keep this card draw free. So we can safely assume that they don't have Wizard's Retort in their hand, or they don't have the Essence Capture either, which is the counter target creature spell, put a +1 counter on there. So at least we kind of know the coast is clear as far as both of those go, so that if we do draw into another Krasis, we can at least kind of just cast it and try to cash in some card draw. All right, so they did flash in Merfolk Trickster, and that's another thing that this deck likes to do, is enter the battlefield, tap target creature, and then that's going to kind of clear the way for that slippery salamander to swing in. Now, we do need to get down Gates of Blaze, so hopefully we can find a red source sometime soon. We are looking at Chart of Course next turn, especially if we want to swing in with Hydroid Krasis. I think we'll still take the hit on discarding a card, to be perfectly honest, with Hydroid Krasis. We need to stop this salamander from swinging in. So let's go for Chart of Course. That's going to be blue, and then Golgari Guildgate. Yeah, because we need to stop that card draw. That's exactly what hurts you. We'll get rid of Rhythm of the Wild. Let's go for another Chart of Course. And we're just trying to dig into some sort of red source. There we go, Golgari Guildgate. Okay, double Gates of Blaze is nice, so we'll definitely hold on to that. And then I think at this point right now, since we have no other action in the hand, we can just simply just get rid of Rhythm of the Wild, and then kind of leave these up. So we'll get on Golgari Guildgate. Then we're just going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. And then worst case scenario, next turn we are looking at Growth Spiral to draw a card and hopefully grab another land. But yeah, Gates of Blaze is definitely one of the where this deck shines playing against mono blue tempo, because you get to this point to where we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unfortunately, oh man, they're going to get down another Trickster. We're trying our best. So the things that we want to see to bounce back from this definitely is going to be, Guild Summit. We can cash in a ton of card draw. And that's one of the good things about this deck. When you got double Gates of Blaze, even if they have a counter spell, you can still stop what's going on. But yeah, we need to get something pretty good if we want to survive this. But you can see we're simply just drawing an extra turn off a Slippery Salamander, swinging across like every single turn. That's really going to put them in a position to use some of those cheap countered spells. That's Essence Capture, Wizard's Retort, and then get down DJ Tempest, and it's just it's hard to deal with. That's the good thing about DJ Tempest, is that Gates of Blaze definitely takes care of it. All right, so we do finally find a red source. We'll go for Growth Spiral. Kind of a little bit of a counterspell test, if you want to say that, from our opponent. Let's go green off of Golgari Guildgate, and then we'll go blue off of Growth Spiral. Draw additional card, and then we'll put a land onto the battlefield. Okay, so we do hit Breeding Pool. Let's put Guildgate onto the battlefield. We'll put Breeding Pool down, not going to pay 2. And then we do have the City's Blessing, so we can actually start to swing in with Wayward Swordtooth. So at this point right now, let's just go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. Once again, we're going to try our best to hopefully kind of either chump block on DJ Tempest, and then set us up to where we can go for Gruul Guildgate. Thankfully, with us finally finding Gruul Guildgate with Plaza of Harmony, it's going to put us in a position where we go double Gates of Blaze. That's going to get rid of Wayward Swordtooth and Hydroid. Oh, that is just... that's gnarly. All right, so the good thing is that we're looking at Hydroid Krasis just chump blocking at this point. Yeah, there we go. It's going to block on DJ Tempest, and it's going to be 2 coming across, puts us down to 8. So even if they do have double counterspell in the hand, at this point right now, if they don't make the land drop, we should be able to get this to go through. They do have 2 wizards on the battlefield, so if we got double Wizard's Retort, that's just going to be bad luck on us. So hopefully we should get this to kind of stick through for next turn. All right, drawn to Guild Summit. So let's do this. Let's go and push in with Wayward Swordtooth for 5. because it's simply just going to lose it anyway to the Gates of Blaze. All right, so we're pushing in for 5. The Dinos just try to tiptoe around all these DJ Tempest and these Merfolk. Swing in for 5. It's going to knock them down to 15. And then let's go. Let's test out the Gates of Blaze. See if this is going to stick. The only good thing is, like I said, if they have some sort of counter magic. Now, if they've got double counter magic, there we go. Resist Retort. Okay. Let's see if the second one's going to stick or not. And if they've got the second well, no, we can pay for Spell Pierce. If they've got do they have double Spell Pierce? Oh, man, I think they've got double Spell Pierce. Oh, brutal. Okay, good game. That is a very nice play by our opponent. That's going to be lethal in the air. Good game. That was really nice. That was some really good sequencing. So you can see where, you have some really fun matchups like this. So unfortunately, we're kind of stuck on a red source for a while, and we'll definitely go to sideboarding. But that was we tried our best to go for the Guildgate action, but our opponent's going to get it. And that was definitely some really good sequencing by our opponent. Wizard's Retort into Spell Pierce into Spell Pierce. Oh, that's some good standard right there. So let's go shift this one over to sideboarding. So what do we want to bring in? Definitely want to bring in Crushing Canopy, because that's going to allow us to get rid of those salamanders. We do want Lava Coil, because that's going to certainly deal with those salamanders. I think I do like, and also with Crushing Canopy, it deals with the enchantments. I like Cinder Vines, because we can kind of sit back and take care of those Cinder Vines. I do want to bring in 3 Negates to kind of go for a little bit of counterspell magic. So, let's go and back off Vivian Reed. Vivian Reed is just a huge counterspell target. We'll back off Punch. Do we want to get, I think Wayward Sawtooth is not the matchup for this one. We do need to cut 5 more cards. So basically kind of what we're doing right now is we're shifting ourselves into a little bit more of kind of like a Temur good stuff deck, a little bit more of a Temur ramp. I guess we get rid of Thud. Thud is nice, but in this matchup, we need to make sure we're fully online. I still like Guild Summit because that's going to give us some really good card draw. I guess if we want to, Rhythm of the Wild is not that important. If we're kind of going to be playing the long game on this one, I think we can get rid of Rhythm of the Wild, and we need to get rid of 1 more card. Let's go and back off 1 Gate Colossus. I love this card, but where the money is for this deck is going to be Gatebreaker Ram, and then everything else looks pretty good. So let's go and shift this one over to Game 2. Okay, so welcome to Game 2. As far as opening hand goes, yes, I love this. This is a lot better. We'll keep on this one. Yeah, that was some really good sequencing by our opponent. It's always fun whenever you play just kind of a really tight control. Playing against Bant Nexus, when you beat that feels really good. But when you get beat fair and square by a blue deck like that, it's like, yeah, I'll take that. So let's lead off with a Simic Guildgate. That way it's going to come into play tap. We can shock in Breeding Pool, and then next turn we can go for Chart of Course. We've got a really good opening hand. We've got card advantage on turn 2. We're going to be able to set up some sort of card advantage with Guild Summit on turn 3. We've got an answer for any sort of flying creatures with Crushing Canopy. In fact, we can go for Crushing Canopy in response to any sort of them trying to put an enchantment on one of their creatures. But yeah, we get some pretty good stuff in the hand, and we'll see what they roll out, but at least we can deal with that slippery. All right, so we see no turn 1 play from our opponent, I think. And if that's the case, then I feel pretty... there we go. I like that. No turn 1 play. We do have Chart of Course, so they can go for Spell Pierce. If they want to go for that, that is perfectly fine. At this point right now, we're just digging into our library to find more lands. Ooh, I don't want to discard that card. We want to hold on to Gates of Blaze. So we have to get rid of 1 card, and I think we get rid of Guild Summit. Double Guild Summit sounds really enticing, but if we're worried about counter magic, yeah, I guess we get rid of Chart of Course, because as we just keep playing drops lane, yeah, I don't mind going for that. Let's get this, I got the Graveyard Pop. There we go, clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, and then we'll kick it back over there. Always have the Graveyard popped up, and I didn't, kind of threw me for a loop. Yeah, I kind of like going double Guild Summit. So we get down 1 Guild Summit. They have counter magic, that's fine. That we can follow up with another Guild Summit. We're definitely playing the long game on this one and going double Guild Summit. If they both stick, that really puts us in a pretty good position to cash in a ton of card draw. So, and if we can set it up to where we can tap down a few more gates the following turn 2, we'll be in a pretty good position. But yeah, with this mono blue deck, it's I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. I played against it a lot on Arena, and so if you play Arena, if you play Magic Online, it's super cheap on Magic Online, and it's I think there's like 8 rares in the deck for if you're playing on Arena. So this is and it's a very rewarding deck. It's going to teach you, especially if you're new to Magic, it's going to teach you how to sequence things. It's going to teach you how to make sure you set up things correctly, and be really tight with your play. And I think that's the important thing with the deck. So let's go for Plaza of Harmony. We're not going to have that life gain, unfortunately, but it's going to enter the battlefield untapped, and we want to jam a Guild Gate as quickly as possible. So if we're running into Spell Pierce, so be it. All right, there we go. I'll take that. Once that's on the battlefield, it's really hard for blue to deal with any sort of enchantments. In fact, next turn, we might even try to go for Guild Summit again and just really establish a card draw. So once we get that card draw quicker than our opponent, that's going to be really good. And then setting ourselves up for really nice Gates Ablaze. We can even have Guild Summit. We can even have Is It Guild Gate come down, and that'll put us on for Plaza of Harmony, dealing with this Merfolk Trickster. So we'll see what else they come in, but we've got the Trickster swinging in for 2. That's going to put us down to 16. And then, yeah, that's Lava Coil. Ooh, yeah, we're getting in a pretty good position. Let's go Guild Summit again. Worst case scenario, we're going to end up with a card draw on this turn. If not, we end up with double card draw with double Guild Summit. So there we go. Opponent's going to go for Spell Pierce. I like getting some of this stuff out of their hand. That is fine. We'll go for Is It Guild Gate. As long as we can just keep rolling stuff out, or we can get rid of the Spell Pierces out of their hands, we can get rid of other things like that, that's really going to clear the way for Gates Ablaze and Lava Coil. So that's kind of what we want to do. If you're new to Magic and you haven't played against any sort of control deck before, that's pretty much what you want to do. You know, our big threat right now is going to be maybe a Hydroid Crisis in a few turns, or maybe something like Gatebreaker Ram. Definitely our big payoff card is going to be Gates Ablaze. So rolling out something like a second Guild Summit to kind of deal with some of these creatures is a really good way to kind of chew up some of their mana, make them really kind of, get rid of some cards quicker than they want to. Okay, so we do have Hydroid Crisis for 2, which is something we could certainly go for. We can go for Growth Spiral to draw a card, and that's going to maybe put us in a position to go for Guild Summit. We can also force a Lava Coil from our opponent to activate that Siren Storm Tamer too. That'd be a good way to kind of go for a counterspell test. You know, let's kind of go for that. Let's go Lava Coil on Merfolk Trickster. That's going to force him to sacrifice Siren Storm Tamer, but that's not going to dig out a counterspell in the hand. So let's do this. Let's go for Lava Coil on Siren Storm Tamer. Hold on, let's see if they can, I think they can still, it targets you or a creature you control. So that's definitely going to be them activating that. They do have 2 wizards, so they're definitely online for Wizard's Retort. Yeah, let's try to jam a Hydroid Crisis now that I think about it. I kind of like going for this. It's not going to be the best Hydroid Crisis, but if we can get lucky with this card draw, X is going to be 2. That's going to be 1 card draw and 1 life gain. And that'll kind of be a 2/2 body on the battlefield. That way, they've got 3 cards left in the hand, and then we can outpace them the following turn, especially if we end up going for Growth Spiral, or if we hit the land off of this Hydroid Crisis. So I kind of like forcing them to have some sort of answer, because this is pretty much going to be able to stop whatever they've got going on. Okay, so we drawn another Hydroid Crisis. We can basically just keep chaining these Crasises together. All right, it's going to stick. All right, so no Essence counter from our opponent. We'll get down Hydroid Crisis, and we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. So we are sitting at a 2/2. We can stop the Siren Storm Tamer from swinging in. And then we can also go for another Hydroid Crisis for next turn. So we're in a pretty good position. Now, once we do get down Gatebreaker Ram, that's going to stop both of these Merfolk Tricksters from swinging in. So we can at least got to get some sort of ground game established, and then really kind of start working towards the Gates Ablaze. Now, see how they want to swing in. If they want to swing in, we will definitely make some trades, especially with them not going for that. All right, so we're going to go for Hydroid Crisis block on this Merfolk Trickster. And like I said, we're just going to slow roll, just a ton of options out there. We can basically just build up a ton of card advantage quicker than our opponent can at this point right now. So even if we just go for another Hydroid Crisis, if we want to, we can force double Lava Coil. It's going to be a great way to force some action. So let's go for Merfolk Trickster. Because what this is going to do, if we end up going for Merfolk Tricksters, this is going to force them to sacrifice Siren Storm Tamer, or the worst case scenario, get out one of their good counter spells in their hand, and then we can fall. All right, there we go. So they're going to counter that. Let's go for Lava Coil again. That was a wonderful draw. And then if they have a counter spell, they'll definitely have to get rid of it. And that should clear the way for us to either go for Gates Ablaze or something like that next turn. So they're taking some time on it. So we are looking at something like Spell Pierce. They might have brought in Negate out of the sideboard. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're going to take care of it. And then we'll go and pass the turn. So I think at this point, we might end up just simply going So we're looking at a 4/4 gate ram with Vigil. That's going to be a really good way for us to kind of establish some sort of threat against our opponent. If we're sitting at 6 men, I'd be really tempted to go for Hydro Crisis, but I think our good bet next turn is definitely going to be go for Gatebreaker Ram and just kind of bank on us outpacing Gates Ablaze. That's one of the good things about Gatebreaker Ram having that +1/+1 for each gate and having a base 2/2 is that whenever you go for Gates Ablaze, it's just kind of a one-sided board wipe. It's just one of the best things in having Magic. If you have a one-sided board wipe, it really kind of helps you push your game plan. An opponent, not sure what that extra tap was, but it looks like they might have tapped down an extra mana at this point. So we do have to watch out for Spell Pierce if we end up going for Gates Ablaze, but that does clear the way for Crushing Canopy the following turn. Yeah, I think we try to jam a Crushing Canopy on DJ. Yeah, DJ Tempest. Yeah, let's go. If they've got Spell Pierce, they've got it. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so we're going to go for Crushing Canopy. We're going to destroy DJ Tempest. If they do have a counter spell, that's going to put them down to just 2 cards in the hand, and hopefully with Gates Ablaze, we can clean them up. Our opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. It's going to send us over to sideboarding. As far as any changes, I think we're still good. You know, we didn't really hit the lands as quickly as we wanted to that last turn, but you can see where we just kind of slow rolled out some threats to our opponent. Didn't really do anything too crazy, but yeah, I think I'm going to leave it the same, and I'll see you in Game 3. Welcome to Game 3. Now, as far as our opening hand goes, we've got, we've got Chart of Cores. We've got a ton of Guild Gates. If we get lucky, I feel like we should mulligan just to get some sort of spot removal. Because if we just Chart of Course into 2 more lands, this is not... Yeah, we need to mulligan. We need to be a little bit more aggressive. I do like that we're on the play on this one. Yeah, I guess we keep on this. Hopefully the Scry's Breeding Pool. Yes, we'll leave that on top in a heartbeat. That'll allow us to go for Guildgate into Growth Sprout. Yeah, that's pretty good. We could have kept that first hand if we weren't really worried about playing against some sort of card advantage engine like our opponent. But we want to find some sort of way to deal with some of these creatures. Because if we just run into a bunch of lands and they draw a ton of cards every single turn, that is not going to win us the game. So let's go for Golgari Guildgate, kick it back over there. Next turn, we're looking at Shocking and Breeding Pool, then going for Growth Spiral to get a land drop, and then also put an extra land on the battlefield. Kind of help us kind of outpace, hopefully, some of these creatures, end up with a 2/2 Crisis, and that'll be some card draw, and then we can... hopefully kind of deal with some of these creatures. Now, if they do end up getting on Curiosity, we didn't see it come down on Mistcloak, so it's pretty safe to assume that they might not have it in their opening. Ooh, and drawn to Gates Ablaze, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Let's go Breeding Pool. We're going to shock this one in, and let's go for Growth Spiral. Hopefully this does stick around. Definitely could see a case for our opponent going for Spell Pierce. Oh, there we go. We'll get down Simic Guildgate, and that'll be the gate for next turn. We'll go Gary Guildgate, and then anything else? No, we're going to kick it over there. So we do have Crushing Canopy in the hand. We can deal with the Slippery Salamander, and we'll at least have the Golgari Guildgate line of play to go for. We do need to find one more red source with Gates Ablaze. That's something we definitely want to find. But if they're just rolling out a bunch of little 1-drops, this if we can find a red source for Gates Ablaze, that'll be some fried salamander and fried merfolk for dinner tonight. That'll be pretty good. I think that'll be kind of fun. Yeah, I guess we just they've got 2 cards in the hand. We go for Golgari Guildgate. Yeah, I guess we just go and try to see if we can't stick a Crushing Canopy, maybe during their upkeep. That way, we can kind of force some of their mana to be spent kind of fighting that spell. Yeah, because they run into Curiosity. Yeah, we could do it during their upkeep to make them not have some lines of play, but if they go for Wizard's Retort, then that wouldn't be too good. Okay, so they're going to start swinging in. Let's go for a Crushing Canopy on one of these creatures, one of these Slippery Salamanders. We haven't seen Curiosity, so at this point right now, we're just going to go ahead and just jam the removal where we can. So that's going to be them swinging in for 2, and then, yeah, they're just going to go and pass the turn. All right, Gatebreaker Ram. So we get that down. That's going to be a 5/5 with Vigilance, and that's definitely going to allow us to kind of outpace our opponent. I am worried about a Essence counter, though, because they haven't gotten down Curiosity, and we didn't see a Spell Pierce, so it's probably one of the counter spells that they're running. Let's just kind of test the waters with the Hydroid Crisis for 2. Then, worst case scenario, this is going to be kind of like a Growth Spiral for the turn. We get a card draw, and we'll see if they have Essence counter, but I would assume that's probably what they've got in their hand. Okay, so they do end up going for Essence counter. Still going to cash in that card draw. That's going to make Merfolk a 2. Oh, there we go. Finally run into a red source. Let's have Stomping Ground come into play tapped, and then we'll go and pass the turn to our opponent. Yeah, that was the way they were playing. It's probably... and the good thing, I was trying to think how we want to run our next turn, but I think we just end up going Lava Coil. Just to kind of test the waters with the Slippery Salamander. Because if we end up going Gates Ablaze, now if we do it another red source, we're going to do this all in one turn. That's exactly what we want to see. Zorius Guildgate. So we go Gatebreaker, Ram, 1, 2, 3, and that still leaves up an open Lava Coil. And the Gate Colossus, we're looking at 5 total mana for a Gate Colossus. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go Gatebreaker, Ram. And then that still leaves us open on Lava Coil. That way they've got another counterspell to get down the Guild Gates. And then we'll try to jam... Yeah, I think we go for... Yeah, I'm fine with going for this. Lava Coil on the Cloak. That way they've got a counterspell, they got Spell Pierce, so they're going to have to go for it now. And that really kind of clears the way for a Gates Ablaze. I'd like to set up some sort of... yeah, that's fine. Spell Pierce, yep. That's good. That'll set us up to where if they have more copies of Spell Pierce in their hand and we do try to stick this Gates Ablaze, we're going to have the mana to pay for that Gates Ablaze. Then if they do have Wizard's Retort, they do have no Wizards on the battlefield, so they're going to have to spend at least 3 total mana. Well, now they do. They have Merfolk Trickster. Tap target creature. All right, so we're looking at 5 damage coming across this turn that will put us down to 6. If we can get this Gates Ablaze to stick, I feel really good about our chances of winning. If they counter it, then it's not going to look good. So... we'll see, though. There's definitely been a, wonderful game of Magic. This is exactly what you want to see in a standard environment. I like this. All right, so we draw into another Gatebreaker Ram. Yeah, let's try the Gates Ablaze. Let's swing in with Gatebreaker first, though. It does have Trample and Vigilance, so that way we don't have to worry about swinging in. And that's the all-star of this deck is 100% Gatebreaker Ram. The fact that it has Trample and Vigilance, there's just so many times you get this down, and it is so hard to deal with. It is a really good card. Swinging in with Gatebreaker Ram, that's going to be 6/6 coming across with Vigilance and Trample. Going to see if there's any sort of Merfolk action that kind of came out from our opponent, but we didn't see it. Let's go for Gates Ablaze. And the main reason we're doing this way is because we just want to play around a Spell Pierce. We don't have the mana for Spell Pierce. Let's see if this is going to stick. Probably walking into a Wizard's Retort, to be perfectly honest. But, oh, negate. They're going to get it. Okay. It's not over yet. We can go double Gatebreaker. And if they have Essence Capture, that's going to be brutal. Okay, so we at least have 2 6/6s. If we draw into another gate, that will be lethal, you know, assuming that they swing in with all their creatures. So, and they've got 1 card left in the hand. So we'll see how they decide to swing this one in, because that's going to be block in the air. So that's going to be 3. And that's going to put us down to 3. And we don't know what that last card is. Let's see, Cinder Vines. So it's going to push in with the Gatebreaker Ram. That's going to be Vigilance, so we don't have to worry about this attack. Let's go and push in. But actually, now that I think about it, they're going to have it on the back end. But we'll see if we can't get something going out of their hand. I think our only bet on this one... Okay, so we're not going to be able to close this one out on our own. Like, we're basically going to lose next turn. But we can set it up to where our opponent might lose the game for us. And so what we're going to try to do is we're going to get down Cinder Vines. We're going to get down Cinder Vines and then represent some sort of plummet on this Cloak Herald. All right. That's about our only way. If they get down some sort of enchantment, that's going to allow us to they go red and then green. That way, if they're worried about any sort of instant speed action with the 1 card left in our hand and Gate Colossus, we can at least... no, excuse me. That's... No, it's going to deal 2 damage. Whenever they cast a non-creature spell, it's 1 damage. Yeah, I was thinking that if we got through all the way and they didn't block with that Merfolk Trickster, that would put them down to 2. So I think this is pretty much a good game to our opponent. Yeah, I think it is. They're swinging for 3 and they're going to get it. Good game. That was a wonderful match of Magic. That was a lot of fun back and forth. Had some good stacks going. And we had some good action, too, on our side of the battlefield. All right, so our opponent's going to swing in for 3. That's going to put us all the way down to 0. We can see how close we got it with the Gatebreaker Ram. But unfortunately, opponent's going to get it on this one. And with that Cinder Vines line of play, I was like, man, if they get down Curiosity and we go down to 2, then we can sacrifice it and deal that damage. But then even then, why would they would see that coming from a mile away? So, but anyway, opponent's going to get it on this one. That was a really good game of Magic from both players. But if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.